Welcome to All the Right Marketing, where we talk with business owners and industry leaders about marketing, their programs, and products. Our guests share tips that can help anyone who loves a book, whether you are a librarian, bookseller, author, or publisher. The truth of the matter here is that the advice coming out of these conversations are for creative marketing across industries. So today I have a guest named Vanessa Campos, and she has served as a marketing specialist and marketing and production manager, allowing her to learn every aspect of book publishing. To date, she has helped launch more than 100 business books and counting. That is so cool. She loves watching true crime shows, reading historical fiction, me too, and cooking dinners from scratch. Just don't ask her how to bake. Welcome, Vanessa.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
We actually have a lot in common. You are welcome. Historical fiction. I just finished The Rose Code. Have you read that one, The Rose Code?
No, I'm jotting that down right
It
now.
was fantastic. Hard to get into the first probably quarter of the book. I was like, I don't know, but I'm in a book club and they're like, keep going, keep going. Fantastic. And I also can't bake, but I do love to cook. So
It's a science, I'll tell you.
It really is. I loved that you gave a shout out to your preschool teacher. Tell us why you gave a shout out in the application.
I just remember her being the bridge between my school life and my home life. So I'm like first generation. My parents came over right before I was born, and so they were growing along with me and learning the language along with me. And I don't remember a lot of things from when you're that young, but I do remember her and her enthusiasm for things and just pushing me to learn new things and just I don't know. It's like one of those things where like teachers really touch you. It's just I don't know. And my preschool teacher of all things.
I love it. I was once a teacher, so I just thought that was really special. And I just got a Christmas card from one of my teachers that I keep in touch with. And she said she was proud of me. And that just, I mean, I'm 43 and it still made such a difference to me, you know? I invited you to be part of this podcast because we were having some conversations and I just love all the experiences you've had in marketing books and being a part of the book industry. So let's dive in. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So what would you say to someone if they said, Vanessa, I have a book coming out in 30 days and I need to start marketing it?
I
love it. That would be your response.
That usually is my response. And I always feel one of two things. One, it's never too early to start marketing your book. As soon as you have an outline, start talking about it, sharing your process. People love to learn while you're doing the things. So, just kind of building on that tribe as you are, going through that rough edit and sharing what your, struggles are, asking questions of your audience. And I think that's really important to start building your world as you're building your world in your book. So I would say start talking about it immediately. Get on social media, let people know that it's coming out. And it's not just, this is one of the things that I like to talk about. It's not just about what the book is about, but why you're writing the book, why you're the person, what your experience, what you bring to the table. It's all about being uniquely you. And I think that is, what sells books is the author needs to go out and sell the book. Essentially, even if you are have the support of a publisher, I think what really sets you apart as an author first time, or, whether or not you're writing your third book, you're the person that's going to sell those books, your connection to your audience. So start talking about it immediately everywhere you are. And that goes to say, bring your reader along. They're going to be your buyers, share those milestones, be social and conversational. I'm specifically in nonfiction and business books. So the big issue with a lot of the authors I work with is, I don't want to seem promotional. I don't want to seem like I'm just shoving my content into the people and making them like, hey, buy my book. Hey, buy my book. And, you don't have to be constantly selling your book. It could just be like, hey, I'm having a really crappy day. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to read a book. It could be simple as that.
I think you're right, Vanessa. People want to see the person behind the Instagram feed. They want to see the
Yes.
person behind the Facebook page, behind the Twitter handle. And I think as soon as you said I work with a lot of nonfiction authors, I thought to myself, yeah, I think they probably could come up with some challenges like, what am I going to share with my audience? Well, it can be
Right.
day-to-day things too. Remember, they want to see you as a human, as a person. When you and I were having a conversation last week, I saw something on your wall behind you and I asked you a question. Yep. And, and it's simple things like that. Like, I want to know who Vanessa is as a person. I don't want to just, see what her tagline is or what her, what her business name is and what have you, her business title. So I think that's really important. And I love that. And so what I hear you saying is that you can start at any time. You sign the book deal,
Yes.
18 months before the book is going to come out. Bring them along on your process, share the process with them, but also go outside of that. I have a pet peeve. And when I am on social media and I see an author who only shares their own books, it drives me crazy because
Yeah.
I think Bookstagram is a community. And so tell us what you're reading or share a favorite picture book of yours or, things like that. So let's talk a little bit about creative marketing because you are in this space. You do a lot of work with authors and publishers, and you have seen some really cool campaigns. Tell us about a campaign that included getting into the community.
Yeah. So one of the big things that I'm actually a big proponent about is making sure that the books have contents that help educate. And that's, I think, like I said earlier, I love reading historical fiction, but my big passion is education for the masses. And in school, when I was in school, I ended up borrowing a lot of books like through Chegg because it was less expensive. It was, $90 a semester versus $300 a semester. So the imprint that I worked at, Entrepreneur Press, what we decided to do was really look at, okay, who is the target audience? Who is going to be the one that's going to get the most benefit out of this? And are we pricing the content fairly? Is this something that is easy access to everyone? So a lot of our books were, $17.99 to $25.99, super easy access. So that really got us talking to universities, community colleges. And the biggest surprise was for us, well, not really surprised because we had been getting a lot of love letters from the prison systems. They started building their own libraries and they started looking at, okay, what is this community going to do once they leave the prison system? What is this community going to, and a lot of the times you're just in there and you're reading things, but it's not personal development. So a lot of these systems started building courses, and our books were specifically around how to start something, how
Very
to,
cool.
get financing, how to write your business plan. So we were really big in the prison systems. And I think that was really something that just kind of made sense for the type of content that it was. And it was a little bit outside of the box,
For sure. It's not something I think when I think of selling books, I don't think I've ever thought of that. But if you, look at the audience in the prison system, like you said, they have time on their hands.
Yes.
And not only are they living their daily life, but they have to think about their future when they do get out of the system. What are they going to do?
Yeah. So we started looking at, entrepreneur incubations that were community based in underrepresented communities. My now business partner, who was editorial director at the imprint, she took it one step further, and she is actually she's an academic, and she teaches rhetoric to freshman university students. And so she actually started volunteering within the prison systems, where she would actually go in and teach rhetoric and how to write. And I thought that was so amazing. And I'm like, dude, kudos to you. I'm like, how do you do this? You have 3 kids and, you're the mom taking everyone to practice, but she just was wonderful in doing that. And I think that really just kind of push the mission that we were going toward at the company at the time. So now that we are kind of away from that, that's a little bit of our mission now. And while we're building our business, through Broad Book Group, our big thing is, bringing underrepresented voices that aren't necessarily going to get the book deal because they don't meet the requirements of a P&L. And we saw so many books that we thought merited getting published, but weren't able to because they didn't fit the P&L, and that made us really sad. So we decided, you know what, we could do this on our own, and we did. We just kind of forged ahead, and we're like, we're going to keep doing it.
That's really neat. That's really neat. And so what type of, is there, if there's a listener, can they learn more about the Broad Group? Like tell us where they can go.
Yeah. So our website is broadbookgroup.com, and all of our social media handles are at Broad Book Group. Okay. We actually just launched a course that is easy to follow. Of course, my business partner, Dr. Jen Dorsey, put it together because she's the academic. I can do the things, but I can't teach. But she put together a really easy to follow course that's about like 10 lesson plans to help anybody who is ready to put together their book proposal and get, in front of literary agents. So we're really excited about that. It just launched. It's a soft launch. So we're hoping to get more people into it. And like I said, we are in the nonfiction space, but it is pretty easy to follow, even if you're not in nonfiction. She's had so much experience in actually acquiring for tech. And I think you and I had talked about this. We started working on an education children's section for the imprint. So she put together something that's really special that is available to anyone of any genre.
That's fantastic. And if I go to the website, is it easy to find?
Yes. So if you go to the website, it's just under Learn.
Okay. I want to wrap the interview up, but I want to bring one more point up before we do that. You had said, sharing content that educates, and it made me think of something. And so for an author who thinks, gosh, I have this book, I have a children's book, I have a nonfiction book, I have a novel. That's one aspect of what you're marketing. But you can take it a step further and you can think about that extra content and how can you educate people? So for example, I'm thinking about one of our books. Let's say we have a book that's coming out next year called This Could Be Me, This Could Be You, This Could Be You. And in that book, it's all about the growth mindset. It's written in rhyme. It's really happy. Children can be all different things. You can have big dreams that you go for. But as the author, she can also talk about the growth mindset because it doesn't exactly say what that is in the book, but she can educate her audience on, I wrote this children's book, but it goes above and beyond that. The messaging is about, having the mindset that if I work really hard, I'm going to see progress. Right. So it's interesting because you talked about that content. And so anyone who writes a book, go above and beyond what it says in the pages of your book, but what are other lessons that can be taught?
Absolutely. And when you start thinking about this, and this is why marketing starts when you start writing the book, at the end of your writing journey, you realize so much of what you initially intended to be in the book didn't make it in the book. So that's like from the cutting room floor. And that's still valid information because it got you to this point. Yeah. So that is the type of content that I love working with authors and creating ancillary material. Like, can you create a workshop around this? Can you create a worksheet around this? And for children, it's just so much more fun because you can get out of the box. It could be a coloring page based on the book, and it could just have like, little thought bubbles, and it's the possibilities are endless with children's books. And that's what I love about it. But never discount the things that didn't end up in your book.
That is fantastic. I love that. And that's a great place for us to wrap things up. I will make sure that there are links to your social media and your website in the show notes, and I will let you know when this episode goes live. But everyone listening, you know where to find Vanessa for more information. We look forward to our next interview. They are released in the new year every Tuesday. And until then, Don't be afraid to think outside the box and reach your audience in new and creative ways. Thanks so much, Vanessa.
Thank you.